Thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Cassidy Biss. We start right here with breaking news on campus. Chancellor Jeffrey Vitter released a statement this afternoon expediting the process for removing Ed Meek's name from the School of Journalism and New Media. Members of the undergraduate and graduate councils are now voting by email on whether to accept the request to remove Meek's name from the building.
If the proposal is approved by both councils, the request will move to the Council of Academic Administrators, which is chaired by the provost. State and federal law prohibit the school from returning Meek's donation, but Chancellor Vitter says talks are underway with the Meek family about the right to proceed. We'll continue to give you updates as the story develops.
And if you like Ole Miss football and the great outdoors, you're in luck. NewsWatch reporter Brianna Bynum joins us live with how you can enjoy both this weekend.
Ole Miss Outdoors is a recreation program that brings environmental awareness to the community, and this weekend they're taking students to Louisiana to watch Ole Miss and LSU face off, but not without some outdoor activities. Ole Miss Outdoors is taking students to Louisiana to watch Ole Miss take on the Tigers, but before the game, participants will participate in different environmental activities. Graduate Assistant Davis Preston says football is an effective way to get students involved in outdoors.
Just trying to incorporate as many things as we can into our trips to get students interested, and so one of the main things that students are interested in is our football team.
One of the adventures planned for this trip is a visit to a climbing gym, and the game is scheduled for a late start, so road reps will have plenty of time to explore the great outdoors.
A lot of people don't want to miss the opportunity to go see an away Ole Miss game, especially when we go play LSU, and then what we're doing is we incorporate a rustic element or an adventure element.
Senior Devontae Yates says this trip can help students develop new outdoor skills with the football game as a reward.
I feel like that the trip is a great opportunity to promote environmental awareness as well as personal development.
Trip leader Cal Odemeyer says he wants students to enjoy themselves while experiencing new aspects of nature.
I want the students to get experience that a lot of people don't get, getting outside and just exploring new areas.
The next trip is planned for October 13th as Ole Miss takes on the Razorbacks and the Outdoors Road Rev crew takes on nature. If you're interested in attending the trip this weekend or the one next month, you can sign up here at the Turner Center in room 110. Reporting from the Turner Center, Brianna Bynum, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
Thanks, Brianna. The murder retrial of a Mississippi man accused of setting 19-year-old Jessica Chambers on fire has begun today. The first trial ended with a hung jury last year after defense lawyers argued that Chambers told first responders someone else attacked her. But with the retrial currently underway, a prosecution expert challenged whether Chambers would be able to speak due to the extent of her severe injuries. Prosecutors allege the defendant Quentin Tellis engaged in sexual relations with Chambers before he doused her in flammable fluid and set her ablaze.
The Sally McDonald Barksdale Honors College has increased in enrollment, but keeping those students poses a challenge. The Honors College has up to 1,600 students, but the retention rate has remained the same with 50 to 54%. The main reason students are not graduating with the college is due to the GPA requirement. A GPA of 3.5 is required for a student to graduate with a degree from the program. The Honors College is looking at their options regarding the improvement of retention rates. Two students have changed the typical age range of this year's freshman class. The range is 14 to 64 years old. 14-year-old Ryan Mays completed his homeschool curriculum through the 12th grade level. He is double majoring in Chinese and biology with a minor in neuroscience and hopes to become a multilingual surgeon. 64-year-old John Smith is a 30-year veteran, and during his military career, he took community college classes. He is currently taking classes online to get a bachelor's degree in philosophy and religion.
Ole Miss, following public outcry, is reversing its course and is again allowing a service dog in the classroom with her handler. About 2 weeks ago, service dog Violet was banned for what was described as disruptive behavior. However, due to the outreach from the service dog's trainer and the service dog advocates, Ole Miss has changed its mind about Violet's campus access. Jeff McCall, who trained Violet, said he contacted the university personnel after the ban to see if he could come and observe the dog on campus. The university refused, but after the story ran in the Clarion Ledger, McCall contacted authorities. Following that, the university is now working with McCall and service dog Violet. With this year's intramural sports season underway, less students are signing up because of a new fee. NewsWatch reporter Brianna Flores lets us know more about the policy change.
Intramural sports kicked off this week, and the Intramurals office has changed their team payment policy, a change Supervisor Bailey James says is beneficial to all players.
Players can choose between a one-time, which is a $5 pass and allows for them to play on one team, whether that's women's, men's, or co-rec. And then they can choose to upgrade that from there for $10 or get the original $15 unlimited play pass.
Intramurals participation has declined since the new policy. Flag football player Natalie Vaughn feels the lack in participation is a direct result. Vaughn's team is only one of 2 teams in the women's division this season.
I feel like when the whole group paid, more people played, and now that it's individual, people don't want to sign up because they don't want to pay.
The Intramurals office says money made from player passes pays for new equipment and other needs, like taking care of the grass fields. Soccer begins in 3 weeks. I'm Brianna Flores, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
Those who long to relive their emo phase can do so tomorrow night at Proud Larry's as part of the Emo Night Oxford Angst and Eyeliner event. More than 300 people have expressed interest in the event on Facebook. The event will begin at 9 p.m. and end at 1 a.m. with a cover band playing emo's greatest hits, followed by a DJ spinning songs as requested by the event's Facebook page. Emo music consists of bands like Paramore, Fall Out Boy, and My Chemical Romance. Tickets for the event is $5 at the door. Interested in visiting Rome? Well, NewsWatch reporter Andronita Williams is here in the studio to tell you a way to make that trip a reality. Andronita?
That's right, Lauren. Dr. Jeremy Harnett is a professor of classics at Wabash College in Indiana. He visited the campus and was the featured speaker at an event where he persuaded students to study abroad in Rome. Dr. Jeremy Harnett visited the Ole Miss campus to speak on what he describes as his passion.
Well, it's my passion to study the ancient Romans, and I find it entirely fascinating and sometimes perplexing. And I hope to share some of that excitement with the faculty members and students, staff, and community members here at Ole Miss.
He encouraged students to study abroad and pay attention to their interactions. He also spoke on the social dynamics of Pompeii, which is an archaeological site in Italy.
There's a lot lurking behind the scenes in terms of our everyday interactions and the way we interact with the built environment. So I'm hoping to open their eyes a little bit to the way that architecture, buildings, and cities are not just concrete, but are essentially like machines for the way that we live, and that they have invisible forces on who we meet and how we come into contact with them.
Student Ty Thompson is interested and hopes maybe one day he could take a trip.
Yeah, it piqued my interest, and I would love to do a little bit more research on it, and maybe, who knows, take a trip there one day, check it out in person.
A similar event entitled Riots in Rome will be held on campus October 1st in Bryant 209. The Department of Classics encourages all students to come out. Cassidy, Lauren, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Andronita. Coming up, we'll have the latest on President Trump's address at the UN General Assembly today and what the crowd found amusing about his speech.
And stay tuned to see why America's favorite coffee is changing their name and why it's a store you don't want to miss. But first, Gavin Norton has your first look at the current conditions.
Weather headlines for this week include the continuance of high humidity, but with that, temperatures will start to decrease because what we're going to see is some heavy cloud cover incoming. If we want to take a look at the radar, what we can tell from it is that Oxford is fairly safe and isolated, but over here we're going to see a lot of rain clouds brewing, and we're going to hope that that doesn't contact us. Will they, though? Coming up next on Storm Watch.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I, Krista, take you, Jamie, to be my wife.
When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said she won't be taking you in as a client.
We are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to.
A second woman with allegations against Judge Brett Kavanaugh could be putting his Supreme Court confirmation in further jeopardy. Last night, the judge defended himself on Fox News, saying he is not going anywhere.
I know I'm telling the truth. I know my lifelong record, and I'm not going to let false accusations drive me out of this process.
Judge Brett Kavanaugh defends himself on Fox News after a second woman, Deborah Ramirez, comes forward to say she and Kavanaugh were freshmen at Yale when he was sexually inappropriate with her at a party.
Never did any such thing. The other people alleged to be there don't recall any such thing. If such a thing had happened, it would have been the talk of campus.
Meanwhile, the first accuser, Christine Ford, is scheduled to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee Thursday. Kavanaugh addressed those allegations as well.
The truth is, I've never sexually assaulted anyone in high school or otherwise. I am not questioning and have not questioned that perhaps Dr. Ford at some point in her life was sexually assaulted by someone in some place. But what I know is I've never sexually assaulted anyone.
President Trump continues to support his nominee.
Judge Kavanaugh is an outstanding person, and I am with him all the way.
However, Senate Democrats are calling for an immediate postponement of any proceedings until an FBI investigation is conducted.
The United States Senate needs to do its job, its constitutional duty, with a full investigation before we do the hearing.
Kavanaugh's college roommate James Roche has publicly spoken out, saying he 100% believes Ramirez and also says Kavanaugh was a heavy drinker. Roche continues to say Kavanaugh became belligerent and aggressive when he drank. Bill Cosby has been sentenced to 3 to 10 years in prison. Judge Stephen O'Neill sentenced the 81-year-old comedian today, also fining Cosby $25,000 and ordering him to pay all of the prosecution costs for the trial. Cosby will be classified as a sexually violent predator, which requires a lifetime on the sex offender registry and mandatory counseling. Cosby was convicted in April of sexually assaulting Andrea Constant at his Pennsylvania home in 2004. The sentence is nearly identical to what prosecutors asked the judge to hand down. The entertainer's attorneys are already planning to appeal the conviction.
President Trump taking center stage at the United Nations General Assembly this morning, emphasizing sovereignty at this year's largest gathering of world leaders.
President Trump delivering a central message to the United Nations General Assembly. He's putting America first.
America will never apologize for protecting its citizens.
President Trump emphasized sovereignty as a useful avenue for progress.
The United States will not tell you how to live or work or worship. We only ask that you honor our sovereignty in return.
His message underscored by decisions to withdraw the U.S. from several multinational agreements, including the Paris Accord and the UN Human Rights Council. The president defended his decisions, many that put him at odds with key U.S. allies, including the decision to pull out of the Obama-era Iran
We cannot
nuclear
allow
deal.
the world's leading sponsor of terrorism to possess the planet's most dangerous weapons. We ask all nations to isolate Iran's regime as long as its aggression continues.
The president's speech coming less than 24 hours after he signed a new U.S.-South Korean trade deal. Also, as the U.S. and China hit each other with their most expensive round of tariffs yet.
I have great respect and affection for my friend, President Xi, but I have made clear our trade imbalance is just not acceptable.
President Trump striking a notable different tone on North Korea than last year's address, where he threatened to, quote, totally destroy North Korea. The president spoke of a possible follow-up summit with Kim after their historic first meeting in June.
Since that meeting, we have already seen a number of encouraging measures, though much work remains to be done.
And also during President Trump's address to the UN General Assembly, he said he's done more for America than any other president in American history, and the Assembly's response was not what he was expecting.
My administration has accomplished more than almost any administration in the history of our country. America's so true. Didn't expect that reaction, but that's okay.
The president also received laughs after making fun of Germany's dependence on Russian oil. Some took to Twitter to point out President Trump tweeted back in 2014 that we need a president who isn't a laughingstock.
And Michael Kors said today they have placed a bid of $2.1 billion to buy Versace. This deal will end the independence of one of the last standalone fashion brands and is the biggest effort yet by Michael Kors to build an empire. Kors described the purchase as a milestone in its expansion plans and said he hopes to grow Versace's sales to $2 billion, open more stores, improve the brand's e-commerce services, and expand its accessories and footwear businesses. Additionally, Kors is changing the company name to Capri Holdings Limited once the deal is completed.
The slogan "America runs on Dunkin' isn't just a catchphrase. Now it's a name change. Come January, don't call it Dunkin' Donuts anymore. You can simply say Dunkin'. The Boston-based coffee chain is dropping donuts from the name, and its focus shifts to more menu items. The company wants the rebranding to highlight its drink options and take out foods, not just sweet, doughy confections. The name will be featured on everything from storefronts to packaging to social media accounts.
Well, this morning it looked like it might rain in Oxford, but it proved to be a sunny day after all.
I was definitely happy to see the clear skies. Coming up, Gavin Norton will let us know if the sunny weather will continue in his extended forecast.
Leah, did you put a new dent in that? This one? No. Were you texting and driving again? Yes.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, Dad.
Sorry about your bumper.
I got some Oxy after I hurt my neck. First, I took them to feel better. Then, I just kept taking them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Welcome back to Storm Watch. I'm Gavin Norton, and outside it is 83 degrees Fahrenheit and we see a little bit of clouds. Now, if we want to take a look at what this means regionally, we can see that Mississippi is in the midst of a northeastern rain shower, and that is going to affect us starting as early as tonight. If we want to take a look at the local forecast, we can see that temperatures are in the high 70s and low 80s, but that'll drop very quickly. As we already take a look at tomorrow's temperatures, we can see everything dropping substantially, with South Haven getting all the way down to 71 degrees. If we now take a look at what tonight brings, we can see that it'll bring 68 degrees and late thunderstorms, and that's later this evening with the chance of rain at 90%. Tomorrow, though, things are looking a little bit up, but the scattered thunderstorms will persist, and high winds and high rain. Now, bringing this back home, we can see that over the next 5 days, the highs will range from 77 to 85, but still cloud cover and rain will persist. So that's back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Gavin. After a stellar performance against Kent State, see how Ole Miss wideout DK Metcalf was rewarded earlier today.
And the Ole Miss men's basketball team gave back to the community in more ways than one. See what they did next.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Welcome to Sports Watch. I'm Maddie Bierster. More stars on our football team recognized this morning as DK Metcalf joins fellow teammate A.J. Brown on the Biletnikoff watch list. The award annually recognizes an outstanding receiver in college football. The Oxford native has made 18 catches for 368 yards during the Rebels' first 4 games. His 4 touchdown receptions puts him second in the SEC and 13th nationally. Metcalf has also scored a touchdown in 5 straight games, dating all the way back to last year. The 2018 Biletnikoff Award winner will be presented live on December 6th and be televised on the ESPN network. More in football news, Ole Miss freshman Tyler Knight, standing only at 5'6", but is one that will be hard to find behind the line of scrimmage. Coach Luke discusses his plan for Knight to grow into his role.
Tylen, he's doing a lot of things that people aren't seeing on special teams. He's going down there and kick off cover. He almost blocked a punt on punt block, so he's factoring into the game, but it was good to see him get a carry late in the game, and you kind of saw that spark and how physical he runs the ball for his size. He finishes going forward, and He's just he's like a little pit bull, man. He's really physical and tough, and he provides a spark. So I think you'll see his role continue to grow.
Hopefully we'll see more of Knight on the field this weekend as we take on LSU in Death Valley Saturday at 8:15 p.m. Now switching to the basketball court, the men's basketball team provided a lifetime of memories yesterday playing with the League of Champions, which is Oxford Park Commission's way to provide children and adults with special needs the ability to play sports which they are not able to elsewhere. These Rebels spent an hour running drills and having a dunk competition. A full court game was also held with the League of Champions participants, while Ole Miss players served as coaches and referees. Next for the Rebels, the Ole Miss dunk contest will take place October 19th at the Square. Only one day after the Philadelphia Flyers announced their new mascot, named Gritty, he has captured hearts and minds with his scruffy appearance, googly eyes, and bizarre demeanor. The reason he has had such popularity over these past 24 hours is due to the fact in recent years that new mascots have been far too serious and looking like something created by a focus group. Gritty offsets the seriousness and tension that often accompanies sports. The name Gritty itself is an inside joke used as a descriptor by fans for any player who isn't the most athletically talented but still inspires nonetheless. That's all for sports today. Be sure to follow our Twitter at @newswatch_UM for all your sports updates. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Maddie. Well, it may have not rained today in Oxford, but up next, find out how it did rain at one restaurant chain this past Friday. Rain chicken nuggets, that is.
Stay tuned to see how one group of workers truly put the fast in fast food.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout,
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
It only takes a moment to make a moment.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
They gave me Vicodin after my knee surgery. They kept prescribing it, so I kept taking it. I didn't know it would be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans, because love has no labels.
The Chick-fil-A cows would be happy to know that people are eating more chicken after the workers at a Chick-fil-A in Louisville, Kentucky set a new personal drive-through record. They proved that they are very fast on their feet by serving 178 cars in 1 hour on Friday.
The chain's chief marketing officer is hailing their achievement, saying it took a lot of hard work, innovation, and teamwork. The store wants to keep upping its efficiency, hoping to beat its new record, but not on Sundays, of course, as the chain is famously closed then. Chick-fil-A sounds good to me.
It definitely sounds good to me, and I'll definitely be snacking on it this weekend while I watch the LSU game. But what about that weather here in Oxford? What are we going to see?
The weather is going to continue to be cloudy through the weekend, so though Sunday might be leisurely and without Chick-fil-A, you can look forward to a cooler temperature.
All right. Well, thanks, Gavin. That's all we have for tonight. Thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Cassidy Biss.
Be sure to join us here again tomorrow night at 5 and on newswatcholemiss.com. I'm Lauren Cunley. Thank you and good night.